We know that lots of people are concerned about the environment, they love wildlife and they're into conservation, and we really wanted to get those people involved in the conservation work that we do. So we came up with this project, Wild Talent, and the aim is that people will come and work with us for a year, and that will give them all the skills that they need to get a job in the conservation sector.
Before I joined the traineeship, I was in fashion. I was running a small business about hand knitting. It's about recycled fabrics.
So before the traineeship started, I was an administrator at a sixth form college, and it was just sort of a job to get me by, pay the bills.
And I really wanted to completely break away and really get to grips with real conservation.
Working in conservation was definitely something that I wanted to do as a career, so I'd applied to Wild Talent, and thankfully whilst I was working as an administrator, I got the interview.
I'm hoping to have a career in the sector, try and make a difference and make my own small contribution, however big that may be, to try and conserve, wildlife in London.
I was working full-time. Unfortunately, I lost my job halfway through. I kind of got to know a lot of people in the council and stuff like that, so it made me realise that if there was some way that I could get something like a qualification, I'm sure that I could go up to Matty and go get a job.
A friend of mine did it and I thought, great, he's having so much fun, I want to have a go at it. Brilliant. I'm here doing it and I'm finding it absolutely wonderful.
Well, we need people to work in conservation, so as I mentioned earlier, all of this grassland, it doesn't manage itself, it really takes a lot of work, and so we need people with the practical skills and the understanding to be able to do that. So Wild Talent equips people with that, and just that we want to get out to everybody that's interested in wildlife and give them the chance to get work in the sector.
So here we have the two types of banded snail. This is your brown lip banded snail, and that's your yellow lip banded snail. This one's obviously trying to get out of here. You can see.
Well, this is Hutchinson's Bank. It's a chalk grassland. It has over 42 species of butterfly on here, but it's an area we consider to be natural beauty, with this actually parked inside London. So to have this in a London borough is absolutely fantastic, and we're doing all we can to keep it in check and to save it for future generations.
With the Wild Talent, you are out on the road 4 days a week in all weathers, and you move with the seasons and you develop an understanding of all the intricacies of the sites, and you have quite a unique opportunity to work with everyone at the Trust, but you're still learning, so it's actually a very creative space to be in. So not very often in jobs you can walk in and make mistakes, but we've been able to be within the charity and able to learn in a really creative way, which I think is really special.
The satisfaction that you get after a day's work, if you've done something practically and you can actually see what you've achieved, you can see the area that you've covered, you can see the amount of habitat that you've improved or restored. I think that's quite satisfying.
To be honest, until last year I didn't know I would do this course, but I go for volunteer. And for like 1 month, I just realized this is the stuff like make me crazy. I really like to enjoy the nature. Generally, I like to spend time outdoors, and I really enjoy the nature. So, but when then I realized there is like kind of job, and you can, they pay you for this one, and you can do something you like it, you love it.
As well as the practical experience, they'll also be doing a diploma. It's a level 2 diploma in environmental conservation, and it takes a year to do. So there's some of the work is outside and some of it is in the classroom.
Yeah, I definitely like not being in the office the whole time, but it's nice to sometimes also be in the office and, you know, use your mind in a different way rather than just always practically. So I think anyone who's worried about maybe being out too much or being in the office too much, I think you get a pretty nice blend.
Most of the trainees that we've had have actually come from a non-conservation background, and the whole idea of Wild Talent is that we really want to get people with practical skills into the sector and really try and diversify the people that we employ in the sector. So for example, some of the trainees we've had, the majority of them are jobs changers. So we've had someone who is a dental nurse, another person who is an electrician, we've had a roofer, we've had a DJ, we've really had like a massive range of people. And some of them didn't really know about wildlife very much at the beginning, but they've developed their love of wildlife through doing the course.
I really love sort of the educational aspects and bringing people out into nature, the kind of mental health benefits, the physical benefits, and obviously, you know, for that you have to create those incredible spaces, you have to preserve what we have, you have to protect the nature. So that's kind of my future aim, is to work, yeah, with children and the wildlife. So for the job that I've applied for, fingers crossed, you have to do a lot of infrastructure work, and so today we're learning benches. So you know, it's really good to carry on with the traineeship at the moment for the next few months after doing an interview, knowing that that's an area I've really got to work on, and here we are today learning how to make benches. I've learned how to use tools, so using and use my hands a lot more, much more practical. I was quite dainty before, whereas now I feel quite confident to go out and build things and make things and dig and cut, and you know, learning the chainsaw was a huge step forward for me. The
chainsaw course was phenomenal. It was something that I'd always wanted to do. It costs a lot of money to do it, and through this course we've got all the equipment and now the knowledge to be able to go on and do, you know, the things that we actually enjoy to do.
You can't replace being out in a place like this, you know, getting away from the hustle and bustle of the city and kind of relaxing and having that sense of calm when you're working amongst nature. A grub sort of forms and it creates like a chemical reaction. I certainly feel like I'm much better equipped and prepared to work in the sector based on what I've learned over the past year, the new skills that I've gotten, the new qualifications, and the contacts that you make, the people you meet, and I'm still trying to make my little contribution towards making a difference.
What I've learned, I can't begin that one. Lots, so much. It isn't even over yet. There's still more.
If anything, it's the confidence that it's actually given me. Because I've been in conservation now for about 4 years, but as a volunteer. And I've been involved in a lot of the conservation side of things, but you're never in the forefront. You're always, you know, kind of doing things around the main person that's running the days. Where on this, we're in charge of our own sites. We actually have responsibility of our own site, and everything that goes on in that site is your responsibility. So eventually you're given the tools to be able to go on and actually do the job and actually, you know, be employed in doing exactly the same job. And I just can't wait now.
What I really love about the programme is people going on to get jobs. I'm so pleased when all of their hard work is rewarded and they're doing a job that they love.
It's the best year I've had in my life, in all my working life. Meeting people, what I was learning, doing things like, and just being outside, which I think is a big thing most people. Working outside is just one of the best feelings ever. Even when it's hard, you can be working in the rain and the snow, but it doesn't matter. You just don't know. You get home, you sleep well, you learn so much about nature.
My job preference now is I aspire to be in conservation. I aspire to run my own nature reserve, which I've already aspired to. I already did it. You know, I got a contract at Thamesmead,
I actually finished the course on August the 31st and I started my first day at work on the 2nd of September.
So at the moment I'm a ranger and I work for the London Wildlife Trust. It's definitely something I wouldn't be doing unless I'd done a traineeship. So I get to spend my time out on nature reserves, working with volunteers to manage them for wildlife, which is like a dream job.
Absolutely adore it. Everything, all the grafting, you know, all the hot days, cold days. Yeah, you just live with it and you embrace it and you just work on it and you make something better of yourself. And that's exactly what this traineeship's done for me. It's my perspective on life so much different now.